There we go. That whole recording in progress button lets everybody know. So I got us going recording over here. Got everybody on. Back at it again. We got Tyler. We got my man Nick, who, if you just caught part of that, I'm saying he's got just a couple minutes before practice. We thought we were going to try to get on a little bit earlier, but I got stuck in a meeting, and then Nick's meeting got delayed till later. So, like, you know, the world of education and meetings, and it is what it is, and it's what we do. So,
there's no doubt.
You guys are teacher work day today and tomorrow, or?
Yeah, we're teacher work day today and tomorrow. All of our face-to-face stuff, because of everything going on, got knocked out. So everything's virtual, which now means that quick face-to-face meetings get drug out longer. But, you know, it is what it is. It's just kind of the way it goes.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we're back at it with kids tomorrow. Today was our teacher work day. So, but without
about that teacher work day, we got out of practice earlier. We had an open mat for our guys, and me just being the assistant coach, I didn't realize it was a work day. I'm sitting here, I'm like, why isn't everyone going to the parking lot?
as we're leaving practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the rest of us were heading back into the building. I'm like, hey, why don't you take my kid on home for me too?
Yeah, that was one of those things. I was like, golly, I really thinking about tomorrow. I was like, could I actually like get away and do a morning practice tomorrow? Yeah. So, and then not have to then go watch the high school compete. I don't know. So we'll see.
Yeah, it was one of those things here. It was like high school was doing a morning practice. So I was like, hey, I've been doing all my practices over break at their same time, just kind of following suit. So, you know, is what it is. Worked out fine. We just need guys to get a little bit of mat time. You know, middle school wrestling, you got some people that still traveling out of town and, you know, hadn't been on the mat for a little bit. But, you know, all right. So while we're bouncing around over here, going ahead and talking about it, do we want to jump right into the biggest thing once I can figure out my go live button over here on Facebook? But the biggest discussion that I know Tyler, well, no, wait, there's a couple things to talk, more than a couple, but
yeah.
Where do we want to start? Let's go with that.
I say to go ahead and jump into Spencer Lee.
All right, Spencer Lee. So obviously big news hits. Spencer Lee is out for the rest of the season. I think Devin and Tyler both like hit me up at the same time. Tyler's like, "Do you see this?" And Devin's like, "Spencer Lee can't 4-time." Or I was like, "What? Huh? Oh, wait, I'm in the kitchen right now. What's going on?" Apparently, has he had the surgery yet, or is he opting to go ahead and have surgery?
He's going to have it now. So he may be having it right now. We don't know.
Yeah, wouldn't that be amazing if we were able to go ahead and be that far into it? So, you know, but yeah, so he's having surgery. Do we know, is he having it on both knees or just the one knee? Because he has no ACLs in either leg, you know, if you guys think about it. So
I think it's both. I think.
Yeah. The way I read his public, what he put it out there, it sounded like both.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. Like, and that was gonna be my next question. Like, get that far into it, do you go ahead and have the surgery on both if it's something you're looking at doing, or how does that go? So, but and I was telling Tyler about it today. So I guess you read the post on like the reason why they opted not to have surgery originally.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean that's something else. I can't imagine. For anybody who hadn't seen the post, quick summary of that was his first ACL tear, rehab and all that went better than expected. He was able to compete. Actually, I think he said competed without a brace on either knee. And then
at US Nationals.
At Nationals, yes, at Nationals. At that level. And then when this next one happened, he thought that everybody thought that hopefully recover just as well, if not better. But as luck would have it, I think the instability of not having the other good leg, per se, maybe helped cause some of that, but he was just too sore, too painful before and after things. And so then they opted to go ahead and have the surgery on one, if not both knees, and kind of go from there. So they did say pursuing a medical red shirt. But we know pursuing means they have to see what they can do to get that done.
He will get it. He'll get it because there's a limited number. Once you've competed in a certain number of events, then it's not possible. And along with based off of how many events you miss because of the injury. So this is probably a foregone conclusion. He will get the medical red shirt and be back. So
See,
Yeah.
I'm in a different boat than that. Just because I wanted him to be a 4-timer, and I just feel like the universe doesn't want to give us nice things like that. I think there's going to be something's going to come up, and I don't know. My take might be is given that they gave everyone that extra year of eligibility, they'll just be like, you've already had an extra year, and just kind of. I mean, I hope that's not. I highly doubt they'll do that, but if they did, I wouldn't be surprised. But I mean, then again, I don't think they'll do that. But I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I'm just trying not to get my hopes too high.
No, because the year of eligibility comes back into he would have the Iowa boosters. That's where it comes in. All those seniors that come back, those scholarships have to be paid by the booster club. And so therefore with this, it almost could be a way for Iowa to get out of both of them. Now the medical red shirt, you're not having to pay for that. And then next year you're back on. So, but it also ties in, he's still going to get his 4 because you got to think and then what comes after next season? Oh, it's the Olympic training cycle. So what's he doing? He's still training for the Olympics right there. So it actually fits into everything.
So next year going through with it, does that mean where are we at with this? He doesn't have the ability to become a 5-timer, does he? Then
that would be, and I don't think so. I think that would be off the table.
Yeah. Because
I don't know. Let's just get him back for 4.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would love to see him get back for 4, but remember we did talk about who opens up the opportunity to become a 5-timer with that, in essence, free year that they had last year. That didn't affect anybody's stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. So very interesting. Seeing how things play out with that. The other kicker with the Spencer Lee thing, I'm just staying with that one real quick before we worry about 5-timers, is Tyler and I talked about it briefly. You see Kemmer, they said Michael Kemmer was also having injury problems, and then that he may not be coming back this year as well. So at first it looked like there was going to be this possible floodgate of, well, who else isn't going to come back if he's not coming back, if Lee's not coming back. And then I did see that Kemmer posted something on that. I was like, does somebody know something I don't know? So you kind of wonder, so is that just him kind of trying to get in front of it, trying to not do it? I don't know, where do we think is going on with that? And how much does Spencer Lee's being out affect the team race of Iowa? Because Iowa did, in essence, bring everybody back. Do we think it affects the team race? Huge, not so huge? What do you guys think?
No, I don't think it's a huge hit to the team race for them. I still think by far they're the best team in the country, just top down. And I mean, and with the Kimmer thing, I don't think he's having problems with injuries. He may be, he might be a little banged up or he might be a little hurt. But I mean, as we know, there's a difference between being hurt and being injured. And I think that's kind of his way of saying, telling whoever that it's one of those things that he's not injured. So, he may be roughed up a little bit, but that's the extent of it. Now that's me being positive and hoping he's not nothing's wrong with him. But so, yeah, I mean, I don't think anything is seriously wrong with Kimmer. I think even if he has a few matches off or something, just to kind of rest up, that might be the extent of it. And 2, I still think Iowa's the best in the country at the moment. I don't think anyone's taken that from him.
And this is where I'm going to actually disagree because two things. Number one, now Drake Ayala, I'm going to mess his name up. Yeah. So, all right. So now obviously he's solid.
Yes.
But Hillenbrand going to Penn State gave them the 125 that they needed to be able to compete with Iowa and try to close in the gap on those points. With Spencer Lee out, now you have someone that can match those points in that situation. And yes, I'm about to beat the drum of Tyler's major team. Michigan is that team that can come in there along with the Mizzou, and they can help offset enough that I don't think they are as solid a one anymore as they are. And I would not be surprised. And yes, I did tell my son this. Don't be surprised if Michigan is the stunner and walks away with it, if it's not Penn State or Iowa. I just think that what Michigan has put together, and the way that things could fall, like I don't see Iowa as the true solid runaway now with him gone because of Hillenbrand at Penn State and how solid Michigan and some of these other teams are.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, Michigan does have a solid team, and you mentioned Mizzou, and one thing about Missouri, especially when it comes to the NCAA's, it seems like every year they have a squad of guys that, that makes you think like they can come in and, really shock a lot of people. And I mean, they like when they had Ironman went pretty far and all this, but they tend to always, it seems to me at least, the past few years, they've always kind of underperformed in the NCAA's. And I just kind of feel like right now, at least, that's their identity in the NCAA's, like the tournament and all that. Is once the tournament rolls around, it's just it's gonna look favorable for them, and it looks like they might be in a good position, but they're gonna find a way to drop the ball a little bit.
Well, I'm not saying they win it. I think they're one of those teams. They're a top 5 team that can knock off. And we're saying top 5 like it's a bad thing now, like you're top 5, but they're the ones that can knock off some of these guys.
Yeah.
That opens the door for Penn State to do what they did last year. And I just think Penn State's way more solid this year, top to bottom, and Iowa's got more chinks in the armor. So that's why Hillenbrand was the big key to me. I think that was the big key. And he finished 4th last year, 25.
I was about to ask, what did he finish last year? That was my kicker. So I remember
we looked it up. Yeah. My son and I looked up. Yeah, we looked up last night, 4th. So he finished 4th. And you got Drake, so you got a guy that was in the semis.
Mm-hmm.
And so Iowa may not have a finalist, and Penn State could have a finalist at 25.
Yeah.
That's a big point swing right there. So
it is. 25 is just like, in a way, like also just completely opened up as well. I mean,
so
like, wow, what a game changer just for that weight class alone. Because like, I mean, no disrespect to anybody else, but like with Lee In, I mean, it's like with Gabelin, like I full well expect him to go straight to the finals and dominate through the finals.
Yes.
But without him there, like, wow, all of a sudden, like that next tier is actually a pretty big next tier. It's not like then there's just one other guy or just 2 other guys. Like this can open up
well
a bit there.
And that guy that is enrolling today, that'll be the Michigan 125, has already proven he's pretty good too.
Mariano.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like I don't think that they are the legit 10 juggernauts running through like they were prior to this. I see 6, 7 juggernauts, and then the rest of them are solid with a couple of questions. Whereas Penn State, solid all the way through. Michigan is probably right there with Iowa. So that's why I'm like, and it's going to come down to the tournament. And that's where you throw the Mizzous, the Virginia Techs,
and then you just throw
Arizona States.
The nature of the tournament where you get that one guy that was the 13th ranked guy that will shake up the bracket. And that can happen. We've seen it at any weight. Like it's at any weight whatsoever.
Yes.
Kind of crazy.
So, so that's why I have to go on the other side of Tyler on that one. I just don't see him as the clear cut anymore. So they don't have and you don't have your leader. I mean, there's something when your leader's not there.
I mean, and isn't it?
Well, I mean, him not.
Maybe it's just his demeanor, but like, Spencer Lee is kind of like that leader. He rallies those guys up. Like, but when you like look at like their personalities, you would think that it'd be like Marinelli or DeSanto or like somebody that's like that much more outspoken. But there is a definite difference of that team that before Nick said it without the leader that I didn't think about. Like, there's a difference when they wrestle with Lee in that lineup than when they wrestle without Lee in that lineup. Like, it's, I've never really given it much thought until just now with that. But yeah, there's a difference when they wrestle with him and when they wrestle without him. So, it'll be quite interesting to see how things play out with all that. I don't know. All right, so
I hope y'all know, by the way, before we go on, I hope y'all know if Nick's prediction comes true here and Michigan does somehow walk away with the title, I hope y'all know y'all are going to be hearing from me for like a year until next NCAA's. I'm going to harp on that ad nauseam.
Well, just let me rewind what you just said. If what I said comes true, so you can try to take credit for it, but I'm just going to shut you down and go, let's rewind. January 3rd, who made the prediction? That's all I'm going to say. And now you
it doesn't matter about the prediction. It matters about the results. I'm going to be cheering the results, not the prediction.
Look, you know, like
so I shouldn't say go Dogs right now. That'd probably be kind of sore, wouldn't it? If I said go Dogs.
That one is football, and you see the one where it's like orange flag anyway. So
that
you know.
that was pretty bad. Like I like football and all, but at the same time, I'm kind of like Clemson's played so bad all year. I just kind of like stopped paying attention as much as I usually do. I'm just like,
That's why I figured you jumped on the Michigan bandwagon. You were like, all right, Clemson sucks. Michigan, that's my team. Yeah, let's go. Yeah. Playoffs.
I was happy they were in the playoffs.
And just so we can get back.
I was happy they were in the playoffs, but
that was such a boring day of football. Like, you figured that was supposed to be like to get into the championship game, and both games were boring. I was like,
I mean, you clearly saw who was number one and number two. I mean, it was no doubt. Like,
but
it was like
it was no doubt. But like, you expect for those games to be better. Like, you just
closer.
Yeah, something, anything, but whatever.
Yeah. Anyway. I looked at the Michigan score, and I think at one point it was like 24-3, and it's still like the first half. I'm like, I'm not watching this anymore. It's New Year's Eve.
I went to bed on that one.
Yeah, I think we all did. So, but let's go to tournaments before we get back into more Michigan talk, just to change things up a little bit.
All right.
Southern Scuffle.
Yep.
Love the Southern Scuffle. Been wanting to get back to it. Want to go see it. Nick and I have already talked about it. We were like, you know, like a shotgun pull away from getting to both ending up there this year almost, you know?
Yeah.
Great tournament. I have a question though. What do you guys think? Is it just this year, or did it seem like the Scuffle is still one of the top three? Well, that leads to other tournaments stuff. CKLV, Midlands, and the Scuffle are the three best tournaments there are in wrestling, minus NCAA's. Okay, and I still think even with the group that went, the Scuffle still held up to that. It was great wrestling, exciting to watch. But did anybody else think it was kind of like not everybody sent all their A guys to the Scuffle? Like,
except Missouri. Missouri was the closest.
Missouri. Yeah, everybody else kind of, and Stanford. Well, Stanford sent Real Woods, but I didn't see. Was Shane Griffin there? I didn't see. I think he was.
No.
But like,
it wasn't.
This year's Scuffle's lineup to me seemed a little bit off, like in the sense of like we didn't see everybody's A team guys there. It was almost kind of like a lot of people's a mixture of a couple good guys, and then like what Iowa did. Iowa sent all their freshmen basically, you know, like. And
so I'll jump in and let Tyler go opposite of me this time. How's that sound?
Yeah,
good to go.
All right, so I was thinking about this as well, and I definitely agree they sent difference. I think part of it is with the travels. You did just have the national duels like a week before, which they did have their studs there. My question, and I started thinking back on more recent Scuffles, in that now with the way that you are selected to go to the NCAA tournament, they don't need these matches anymore. The top tier guys don't need these matches because you're going to wrestle them just enough. They're going to have the points that they need to still be seated high based off conference. Mm-hmm. So why risk injury or taking one of those L's, even if because you've all seen each other already. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that along with the financial side, with also the COVID, I think that it'll be interesting next year, but I think that was kind of what happened. And Missouri came back, brought everybody. I think going back to the Big 12, expected to see Oklahoma State, expected to see West Virginia, expected to see a lot of Big Ten schools. And they didn't. The big boys did not show up like they have in the past. I mean, heck, I'm looking, Oklahoma State finished 19th with 22.5 points. No offense to our alma mater, Ed, but Chattanooga finished 12th, man. I mean,
Yeah.
we beat Oklahoma State. We beat Penn State. I mean, we beat Virginia. Like,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like,
love the Moss.
I love seeing us there. And at one point, you know, Devin even came through. Was like, "Hey, Dad, we're top 10 right now at 10." I was like, and when you look at it just based off the names of the schools going, I'm like, that is massively huge. But then, like you just said, but like, we're not a tournament placer ahead of Okie State, Penn State, and those. I mean, hell, even Cornell, you know, didn't send all their
Finished
big
fifth.
guys, you know,
Yeah, no.
even though they, but so yeah, that's what I was kind of wondering about. It's like, is it a COVID year thing? Is it a travel thing? Is it the kind of like, I don't know what happened in Midlands, and I don't know. Somebody tell me more about this Illinois Matman group that was able to all of a sudden host this tournament for Midlands, which is going to be my next thing. But like, I'm hoping that the scuffle still remains to be a huge event, and maybe some teams will still send some of their B guys. But I'd love to see it get back to, you know, where we would see, you know, Ed Ruth and the Gabe Deans and like those big guys. You know, I mean, David Taylor and Kyle Dake, and you know, like, see those big guys still show up to the scuffle. And yeah, basically, I just want to see the scuffle still have the prestige that it kind of did just a couple of years ago.
Well, and what you said was they would select the scuffle, but this time I think that's why I said I think it was twofold. I think they selected the duels, which was a week prior.
Yeah.
And then now you don't need these matches anymore. Yeah. So that was my take on it. All right.
Yeah, no,
Tyler.
no, I agree. I think it's
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Get on board.
I think y'all both hit on it. Like you said, the duels, I think that played a role in it. And I also think that Coach Purdy, you mentioned it too. I think a little bit had to do with like COVID, like it being a COVID year. You don't necessarily want to throw out your guys into a big tournament and then risk one of them popping and, popping for COVID or exposure, and then you're losing him for a little bit during the season. I think it's one of those things. It's just I don't think it's like the scuffle is going anywhere. I still think it's going to be like one of the top tier tournaments every year. I think this year is just kind of a off year, which is fine. I mean, not every year can be, a great year. So,
hey, we had it. We didn't have it last year, so
that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
We're able to have it as well. And then also on top of what, I was kind of alluding to was Midlands canceling out. Like all of a sudden, like we were just talking one day, and all of a sudden Midlands is out. I was like, what? And then anybody know more about this Illinois Matman organization that somehow? And my first thought was like, awesome, cool. Somebody's saying they're hosting the tournament. And then I got thinking about it. I was like, but who is this group doing this? And like, what colleges are still going to say, hey, yeah, still go without knowing who this group is? It'd be like the scuffle getting canceled and me saying, hey, I got a venue, throwing some mats down at the Greenville Bilo Center and saying, hey, every high school coach that I know, if I can get these college guys in, can we throw mats? Like, how does a tournament of that magnitude just all of a sudden get switched and held? And apparently kind of held successfully. Like, I don't know if they got everybody in there, but they still had some people going in there, I mean,
yeah, because running a tournament's not necessarily easy. That's not one of those things you just throw together in
those colleges,
the dark of the night.
Organizing all that, I was kind of impressed. And then also but Austin Gomez came back, and where's he wrestling at now? He came back, and he came out of retirement after doing it for a year. Keegan O'Toole, Missouri, who's wrestling at Scuffle, so we did get to see some stuff like that go on. Oh, I forgot to look it up. Did you see Scuffle, Chittum, the high school kid? Did you see what his final placing was?
What weight class? I'll tell you.
I think it was like 165 or 185. I think he's 165.
All right, I've got the brackets up right here. So
we'll let Nick look that up. But I was curious about that. Like, Midlands used to be the tournament where you could have the retired guy, and if you were good enough, that high school kid that would go to Midlands. And Midlands was always kind of big like that. I'm kind of hoping that amongst what we said about the Scuffle today, this year being kind of an off year, but like, we've seen Nashawn Garrett come back to the Scuffle post collegiately and wrestle. I'd like to see some more of those guys be able to kind of do that post collegiately, and or having that stud like like Chittum be able to come through and wrestle as a senior and like watch some of his matches. And he was winning earlier on the front side. I just don't remember what his final thing ended up being on it though.
Yeah, so I was trying to find. I didn't. Of course, I may have gone too fast at 165.
Yeah.
I don't think he was bigger than 65. I may be
I don't
wrong.
think he was bigger than 65. I don't think he was smaller than 45 either, but I thought that was kind of cool seeing him wrestle there. Where did he commit to?
My son said Minnesota.
I think Minnesota might be right. So
and he felt like he was actually like living there right now, kind of like training with them while finishing high school or whatever. Kind of like Latona did.
From what that Bradley area, but like he was with what did he go to Blair or where did he went up to one of those private schools, but after COVID hit and they basically got shut down, he came back home. So you could train at like the Boom Ranch or whatever it was that they train in out of Tennessee and kind of finish off schooling. And I guess if he's kind of doing whatever online schooling he can do what he needs to do and be where he needs to be at.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I'm still looking.
Yeah, I can look it up too, so you can find it. Which then leads into
all right, here we go. So he was 49.
49.
Hey, he made the quarters and he lost 8-3 to Fine Silver.
That's right, to Fine Silver. Like there's like 20 of them there still. That's one thing Duke still has is 20 Fine Silvers.
Yeah.
Right, then he medical forfeited out after that.
Okay, so but still check that. I mean, the high school senior to the quarters, pretty tough kid. I'm looking forward to seeing him. You know, whether it be Minnesota or Tyler's Michigan, but it'll be kind of cool to see where he ends up with all that.
Yeah.
But, all right, so predictions on the return of another 125 pounder. Somehow we rotate back around to Michigan to finish off discussions for today. But Suriano to Michigan. I showed you guys that post when we found out about it, like him with the Wolverine claws. We all said loved it.
Oh yeah.
That was just
most badass. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, I mean, yes, yeah.
I'm not a, yeah.
Yeah, you can't not say anything about that. That was just, yes, exactly. But
and if Hugh Jackman does decide not to play Wolverine anymore, there's the backup.
There you go. Right. I'm down for it. 100% down for it. Seeing that he makes his debut Flo tonight. Arizona.
No, it's canceled because he is not enrolled in Michigan yet. He is not officially enrolled. He's got to finish doing the admission process. That was posted yesterday.
Okay, so I missed that one yesterday also, so I'll call it breaking news in a way right now. So he is gum because that was going to be him versus Courtney, right? Arizona State.
I think so, yeah.
And that was the one Spencer Lee beat in the final. Wait. What did he place last year, Courtney? Like he came through because he was pretty tough. And remember, well, anyway, kind of a mute point now, but that was that whole backstory from this summer. Like he went out to Arizona State, had all that hype video stuff, and everybody thought he was transferring to Arizona State. That ends up not happening. He goes to Michigan, and then we have this duel come up, and that was the marquee lineup that everybody was kind of waiting for. Other than Mason Paris and what's the heavyweight's their name? It's not Schultz, is it? Is it Connor Schultz? We go from Mason Paris was a junior world champ to Arizona State's cadet world champ in freestyle, two big time heavyweights so we were gonna have bookends of good matches going on. East Coast versus West Coast, basically. I mean, heck, I'm still watching the duel. At least I plan to anyway. All that kind of stuff. But I'm kind of bummed a little bit that Suriano is still having to go through the enrollment process. Connor,
that was what was posted yesterday. So Tyler can fill us in on more on that one.
I didn't see that he still wasn't officially enrolled either.
I mean, how do you not know more about the admissions process? Could they not fast track him through? I think Tyler.
I haven't been on social media much. Since
during
the holidays, I stopped getting on it.
you need to get on the phone with your school, Michigan, and get this fast track enrollment going through for
I could try to pull some
weigh-ins
strings.
at 5. You got like an hour and a half to go ahead and get him weighed in and ready to go. Make this happen for the rest of the world here. I mean, if they are going to go win it.
That's one thing I'm curious of.
It is Courtney and it is Schultz. So it is Courtney and it is Schultz. All right. So, hey, guys, I'm out. I got practice.
All right.
So, man.
We'll see you.
See you. Easy.
So one thing I'm curious about with Siriano at Michigan being a 125er, like he looks like a massive 125er. I just wonder, like,
that's the thing I've been wanting to see.
Yeah, can he keep that weight?
How he looks, because I mean, think about it. We haven't seen him since trials, and then we didn't get to watch him in trials because COVID training partner or something like that. So he was out. Mm-hmm. So we have not seen him compete. Also, I mean, granted, I think all of us have kind of taken a little bit of time off social media as far as like how much time we have spent on it. But
yeah,
he was one that posted a whole lot of stuff before Olympic trials. Like what was it like? What they call them? Like Nikki's pull-ups, Nikki abs. Like who's always working out, doing abs and pull-ups.
Nikki push-ups.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, whatever he wanted to do, he was just posting it. We haven't really, other than that promo shot, which could have been an old picture. The last picture I saw of him with Micic, he had a hoodie, not a hoodie, but a sweatshirt on. So he was still fairly well covered up. We have not seen what he actually looks like. Like how shredded is he? Because like he was already lean. So imagine him at 25.
Yes.
He's got to be hollowed out.
Yeah.
Stay at that weight, that weight. Is there that much for him to take off to get down? Or like, geez, man, like
see, that worries me with him being so. I mean, he was a lean 33, and it's like if he's lean there and he's dropping to 25. I mean, I know he was 25 and then went up to 33. Now he's back down to 25.
Yeah, but has he modified his body any? I mean, is he?
I don't know. It worries me, like, because he's also got muscle mass. I mean, that's he's not just lean, but he's got muscle mass. But it's one of them things that, like, one, can he maintain that weight and then two, can he maintain the weight and still perform at a high level? Or is that like too much of a cut? Is it too draining on him? I mean, only time will tell. So, I mean, of course, I'm going to go with, he's going to be okay. That's what I'm going to hope for. Just because
right now, I'm going to go and make my pick for 125 without Spencer Lee.
Yeah.
In all actuality, kind of like, he kind of worried me in the sense of with Spencer Lee in the mix, we want to see Spencer Lee get his 4-time, but I'm still a huge Siriano fan. So I'm like, oh my gosh, who do I pull for, in that case? But now, 100% on board. Siriano wins it at 125 this year. As Nick said, sends the show off right from the beginning of the Michigan steal of the show to win it all this year. All these things. Notice Nick said the team was going to win first. Notice I said Siriano was going to win first. Tyler's not throwing out any Michigan love today, especially with.
I think he dropped down to 25 to avoid Dayton Fix. Maybe he realized the headgear is not going to help him enough.
Or maybe he pulled down to 125 so he can show that, he does have a hold of just the headgear and he's not pulling on it. It's just cupping,
Yeah. That was knuckles deep all day long.
You can't tell. Look. See, it's fine. Fingers right there.
You could clearly tell. You could clearly tell.
Some headgear.
I'm still not over that. I'm still not over it. It was a great match, though.
How you better be over it. He's on your team now.
I'm not over it. But I will say, though, I still hope he wins. He's my pick right now as well. I mean, I just don't see anyone at 25 legitimately who's like who I'm sitting here thinking that's like, oh yeah, it's a clear cut. Like if Lee was there, again, going Lee 4-timer.
Yeah.
Now that Siriano's basically the guy at 25, I don't know. The only thing I feel like could stop him is if this is too much of a draining weight cut. Yeah. If it's too much of a draining weight cut, then
I do think we have enough time to see his body adapt to it, hopefully, and everything else, and kind of figure it all out. So, well, All right, man. In that case, we had a pretty good show today. Back at it again. A lot of Michigan talk, which I know makes Tyler happy. Good. Glad we were able to get Nick in for a little bit. A lot of Chattanooga talk as well. And really a lot to look forward to, even without Suriano getting a chance to wrestle tonight. We will see him hit the mat soon enough. I'm looking forward to that. And, school's about to start up. We're getting into our next 3 weeks of our season for middle school wrestling to really have our stuff going strong and hard. And then, that much more time for a little bit more college wrestling. We can see some of these things happen and then kind of say how we think people look. And, let's try to get ourselves a little bit more regular back into this new year, back to recording. And even if we got to keep doing it this way, we'll get it going.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
man. I'll see you.
Go catch you tomorrow.
Yep.
Bye-bye.